Amanda.
I'm Ben.
AutoSave, welcome to our
To the
channel.
Russian Nisemonogatari Season 1 Episode 7. Let's go find Karen.
Let's do it.
It's in order. Ready?
Yes.
Sweet.
That
How
was
far
her.
did we get?
What a way to greet him.
She looks flush.
That's why she's seemingly stopping for breaks to lay down.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
We went from kissing our sister to fighting our sister.
Yeah.
It's a natural progression. As we, from my point of view, near the end of this Karen B arc, I feel like all I can like wonder is just I'm filled with like, oh my god, what is after that?
My best guess, as long as Karen's arc does not align with the end of Nisemonogatari, I think it would pivot to Tsukihi.
See, that's what I also think that would be the natural choice. But then I'm also like, what oddity would she be getting involved in when she's so directly seeing what's happening to Karen?
That's fair.
And it's not like Kaiki's gonna then go for Tsukihi. But oddities do seem to find their way to people. Be oddity. Stung.
You don't have the vampiric healing ability. That's not good.
So we're just not blinking. I'd have to hold back.
Whew.
Wow.
You have no idea. Whoa! Oh!
How much are you gonna hold back on her if she's not holding back on you? Yeah, I was about to say.
Oh!
Artist rendition. Ooh. They are sharing in everything.
Just being a punching bag. At least you're ordering this time. Donuts.
A ritual. Everyone's having requests or things for him to do later. But I could still kick.
Oh. Jesus!
She's the most lively sick person I've ever seen.
Hurricanrana.
What an amazing battlefield, right?
It was built just for this fight.
Not against
Justice
true
always wins.
evil.
Whoa.
Imposters.
私は負けないように。力が強くっても意味なんかねえよ。本物に必要なのは意志の強さだ。怪奇のことを許せないというその感情の一体どこにお前の意志があるというんだ。お前たちはいつだって他人のために動いている。誰かのために動いている。そこにお前たちの意志はない。違う。私たちは私たちが正しいと思うことをしているんだ。みんなのことは理由に過ぎない。笑わすな。理由を他人に求める奴が正義であってたまるものか。正義の味方ごっこで戯れるただのガキだ。偽物だ。お前たちが敵視するいつだって悪人ではなく悪役だ。
But villains, true evil.
違う。何も知らないくせに勝手なことを言うな。翼さんなら分かってくれるはずだ。あの人は何でも知ってるんだから。
She only knows what she knows.
知らねえよ。あいつが知ってるのは知ってることだけだ。自己犠牲じゃない。自己満足に甘んじる覚悟はないの。
Self-satisfied. You're looking for a reason.
私たちが偽物だったからって何が悪いんだよ。それで何か
Grabbing onto the title of imposter and being like, well, what's so wrong about that?
Oh my god, the debris.
悪いなんて一言も言ってない。言っとくが僕はお前たちが大嫌いだ。だけどいつだって誇りに思っている。悔しいと言ったなカレンちゃん。僕は確かにそれを聞いた。僕の誇りを汚したやつを許せるか。あとは任せろ。悔しいってか情けない。兄ちゃんに尻拭いをさせちゃうなんて。惚れないように気をつけるんだな。近親相関になっちまうぞ。もう惚れてる兄ちゃん。あとは任せた。
Oh my god. That felt like the entire episode. That was
Carried home.
942.
They really gave him this like villain stance there. Oh, I sensed you were coming for me.
今時随分と珍しい男気のある子供だ。しかし魅力がなくなったな。
Oh my god.
女子になっている。
Yeah, what the fuck did you say?
二度と会いたくなかったというのは嘘ね。会いたかったわよ怪奇さん。
俺は会いた
Your
くなかった。
worst enemy.
普通の女子になってしまったお前になど決して。俺は話を聞くそのために来た。お前たちも話をしに来たのだろう。違うか。よろしい、わかった。もう中学生をたぶらかすのはやめよう。これ以上
Good.
おまじないを広げることはもうしない。
Thank you.
それから戦場ヶ原。お前の母親のことについては正式に謝罪しよう。お前の父親から巻き上げた金銭に関してもできる限りの返却に努めよう。
All the words are so like empty though. Like he doesn't care about what he's saying. He's not remorseful.
そんな言葉を信じられると思って。私にはあなたが反省しているようには見えないわ。
It's like someone just trying to like, oh yeah, I'll throw money at it, clean it up. Money can do everything.
謝罪の言葉をまだ口にしていなかったな。悪かったな、実にすまない。お前たちとても反省している。悔いるばかりだ。
そんな薄っぺらい謝罪の言葉を信じろという。私はこれでもとても我慢しているのよ。あなたを殺すのを我慢する。難しい。
そしてそのあたりが普通になったと言っている。
Oh my god.
Because before she wouldn't have
Before
practiced
you never
restraint.
would have held back.
そうか、それは助かる。俺は金遣いが荒くてな、蓄えなどほとんどない。お前に金を返すため、新たな詐欺を働かなくてはならないところだ。
Everything. Oh my god.
この町から出て行ってすぐに。
わかった。
あんたみたいな人間に関わるのがそもそもいけない。
それは違う。
Unruly
あの
wheel.
娘のミスは一人で俺に会いに来たことだ。俺を吊るし上げたかったのなら、今お前たちがそうしているように複数名で来るべきだった。それ以外の点において、あの娘はおおむね正しい。だがあの娘の優しさは否定すべきではなかろう。それにああいう娘がいないと詐欺師としては商売上がったりだ。戦場ヶ原、お前は俺を誤解しているな。いや、誤解ではなく
You overestimate me.
詐欺師としても至極小物のわびしい人間だ。
A little man.
お前には俺が化け物にでも見えたか。
あなたはただの
Small.
偽物よ。
Oh, oh!
そう、その通り。俺は偽物だ。
My god.
俺は大した人間ではない。あららに、お前はどうなのかな。俺はお前に質問してみたい。お前の人生は劇的か。 悲劇的か喜劇的か過激的かお前の影からはどうも嫌な気配を感じる。
Oh.
それにどうやら
Oh my god.
Oh my god, the visual.
怪異など俺は知らない。しかし怪異を知る者を知っている。それだけのことだ。正確には怪異を知ると思い込んでいるものを知っているだけなのだがな。東方乱れ図鑑の15段に記載されている怪異談だ。しかし根本的な話、そんな病が無論
It's like he just learned of different things and uses other people's belief of them.
この作者の書いたデタラメを愚かにも後の世の人間が信じてしまったのだ。
An imposter.
何もしなくても治るっていうのは本当か？
当然だ。囲い火鉢など存在しない。怪異など存在しない。ならばその被害も存在してはならない。お前たちがあると思うからそこにある気がしている。
You think it exists, so it's all you see.
はっきり言おう。お前たちの思い込みに俺を付き合わせる。
Don't try to drag me into your delusions.
こいつは偽物。
Yeah.
戦場ヶ原の言う通り、劣等感と一生向き合うことを決めている。誇り高し。
Determined to feel inferior.
半分引き受けているのだからな。
Feigned
彼女なら3日も
incompetence.
かからないかもしれない。だがそれだけに荒らぎを。
You and I
お前と俺
cannot
とは相
coexist.
入れないのだろうな。水と油どころではない。火と油だ。では、ルビジウムと水と言い換えようかな。この場合、俺がルビジウムだ。
僕が水ならば火はきっとカレンと月日のことを指す。火と火重ねて炎。ファイヤーシスターズ。
私はそんな知らない中学生たちに対するケアなんて求めてない。荒木くん、今から私世界一ひどいことを言うわよ。
あ？
騙される方も悪いのよ。
うわ。
私は正義の味方じゃない。
I'm not a friend of
敵よ。
I'm an enemy of evil.
お前らは理解したくないだろうがな。俺にとって金儲けとは損得ではないの
The
だ。
mix with the
あなたの
screen in the back has been
俺
like
のそういうところがどうなんだ。
distracting me.
本当につまらん女に育ったな、戦場ヶ原。昔のお前は劇的ではなくとも最高ではあったぞ。今のお前は本当につまらん。
昔の私には何を言っても構わない。でも、
Oh.
荒木くんは私を好きだと言ってくれている。
Don't insult who I am now.
馬に蹴られて死ぬ気もない。それでいいというならば次
An unruly wheel.
俺もあえて金にならないことはしたくない。
He loves putting himself in this position.
明日には俺はもういない。
Just continue the imposter.
そうそう
And a
戦場ヶ原
bored
いい
middle-aged
ことを
man.
教えておいてやろう。
いらないわ。
かつてお前に乱暴しようとした男の話だ。車にひかれて死んだらしいぞ。お前とは何の関係もない場所で、お前とは何の関係もなく決別するだけの価値もない。今回の件からお前が得るべき教訓は、
私のことを今朝まで忘れていた男が私に乱暴しようとした男のことを知っているはずがないじゃん。
ひょっとしたら俺がお前のことを忘れていたということの方が嘘なのかもしれないだろ
嘘だわ。
う。嘘だろうとどうだろうと、所詮この世に真実などない。
It's just what people choose to believe or
お前が
not
かつて
believe.
俺に惚れていたことなど別に浮気にはいい。
え？
今の恋人に対し誠実であろうとするあまり俺を逆恨みされても困る。せいぜいそこの男と幸せに過ごせ。さらばだ。
ただのあいつの勘違い。思い上がりも甚だしいわ。気持ち悪い。ただ
Creepy
あの
even.
頃の私は私を助けてくれる人がいた。
Right?
それがどんな人間であれ、王子様のように捉えたでしょうか。
That's what
That
he
was-
misunderstood.
多少なりとも好意的に見たことは否めないわ。いつか話したことだから別に蒸し返すつもりはないけれ
The
ど、もし
idolization.
も荒木くん以外の人、私を助けてくれていたなら、私はその人のことを好きになっていたのかもしれない。
So good.
そう考えたら虫唾が走るわ。私を助けてくれた荒木くんで本当によかった。
Because then at least she can be proud of who it was.
お前が一人で助かっただけなんだろうけどな。帰る前に例のお願いってのを聞かせろよ。
あの詐欺師に言われるまでもなく、それは決別するだけの価値もないのかもしれない。
But we might want to do something to say farewell to it.
そのつもりよ。
けじめか。
褒めて。
それが引き換えのお願いなのか。
違う。だいたい荒木くんごときに褒められても嬉しくもなんともない。ただ荒木くんが果たすべき当然の義務を忘れ
The basic duties of being a boyfriend.
私は柔らかくて可愛らしい女の子。あんな男にいろいろ言いたい放題言われちゃって、今だってひどく傷ついている。
Are you gonna make her feel better?
だから今夜は私に優しくしなさい。
I don't get to see a kiss or anything.
兄ちゃん、ちょっと出かけてくれよ。お兄ちゃん、かなり出かけてくるね。
Look at them, they're raring to go.
詐欺師がいなくなっても、おまじないがいきなり消えてなくなるわけじゃねえんだろ。
They gotta take care of the victims.
これ以上の被害が出ないってだけで、それで被害に遭った子が救われるってわけでもねえんだろ。
正義の味方ごっこも大概にしろよ。
ごっこじゃなくて正義の味方だよ兄ちゃん。正義の味方じゃなくて
They're just like the Pride Troopers.
行ってきます。
僕の誇り、僕の自慢の
Who I'm so proud of.
偽物ゆえに、きっと何よりも本物に近い。
Oh. This feels like it has to be the last part of the Karen B.
Oh,
storyline.
definitely.
Yeah.
We're not even getting the normal, like, outro. Oh my gosh. That face is so her.
What face is Karen making? Makes sense.
Yep.
怪奇だ。貝塚の貝に
Mhm. We know.
怪奇伝習だ。
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
His voice is so cool.
携帯電話を買いに行ったら。
Oh, you poor thing.
次回月日フェニックス。
Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay, that was Nisemonogatari Season 1, Episode 7. What do you think of Kaiki as a character? Like, what are your just like initial heart feelings or gut feelings to him? Like, are they positive, negative? Do you have any other like thoughts that go along with it?
Okay. Well, obviously, to just kind of sum it up in the simplest, shallowest form, it's that he's not a good guy. But it's way more complex than that, and I feel like someone could write a paper about Kaiki and that point of view, that I like what he is displaying, which is not truly like it's tough because it's like it's evil or it's villainous, but it's I don't know. There's ways to, I feel like, talk about it that I'm maybe like not equipped to in the moment, because I feel like it's something that's a lot more like you gotta break down everything that he says, and he's very like straightforward and like he knows himself, he knows why he's doing what he's doing, and he knows that it's bad, but he's doing people are coming to him because they need something. He doesn't truly believe in it, or does he? There's just so much that's kind of like, what's a lie? Is it all lies? Do you blame someone for kind of... This whole time we've seen people kind of bringing on an interaction with an oddity and or their own afflictions from that oddity to some degree. And then he's here, and it's that same idea that Senjukahara brought up about her parents' marriage. Like, they were going to divorce and separate eventually anyway, without his introduction into the story. And so would these people fall victim to something, or choose to be victim of something, or, get into something that they shouldn't, whether he was involved or not?
In the same way that what happened to their parents would have happened inevitably. Whoever Senjukahara ended up with, inevitably she might have had feelings to.
Mm-hmm. Like, he's just as he says, he's just a random middle-aged man.
See, but like he's such a perfect character, like in the sense that like he doesn't ever show his cards.
Uh-huh.
Like, even when he truly isn't. Like, in trying to determine what kind of person he is, or if you can like him or not, that's fair, and you can. But I think it's fascinating to try to pinpoint at what point could you objectively say if he was a good person or not, or he was a bad person or not. I think that if you're in our position, you'd never be able to definitively say one or the other, because when it comes down to it, it is all in the specific notions of what his motives truly are. I think that at the end of the day, he talks existence into reality in like an allegory of the cave sense, like that what isn't real, what you're seeing is what you make it to be. You're what you don't see is what is not present.
Reality. He's preying on your own version of reality.
Depending, because he's also, I think, at the end of the day, like, yes, money above all, but I think that you could very easily argue that there's more evidence to show that he does have a motive. That being said, we just have no idea where it lies. Like, my biggest takeaway this episode about his character that I am, like, overthinking, spiraling in my head right now about is about Senjigahara's the person who assaulted her, like that entire plot point, and saying that he had died in a car crash,
and that
like,
it wasn't drama, it wasn't theater.
Well, like, more specifically, trying to understand why you say that to the Senjigahara that you are acknowledging is Senjigahara. Like, I'm following him to the point of belief, because at any step along the line, I can 100% be wrong in trusting him or not trusting him, because everything that he says is a lie. However, when he says, like, yeah, I could have lied about not remembering you this morning, and then I'm like, fuck. Like,
she kind of, when he said that, she kind of, like, it seemed like she was even shaken by that. Like, she was like, oh, right.
That, yes, agreed, but it doesn't matter, because that, depending on his motive, that could be her reaction to what he's trying to intend to get her to feel. But the gut reaction that I have immediately, like, right after finishing the episode is like, you know that it's not, you know that it's going to be 4 or 5 steps ahead what you're saying is actually going to result in what you want to happen, but it's under so many cloaks that you don't know if you're saying that so that you'd get to the point of it potentially not even being true or it being a ruse, and that acknowledgement potentially being beneficial to Senjigahara in some way of being able to find, like, a passing of acknowledgement of what happened. Like, I think that where his true feelings are so fascinating, and I am going to be devastated if we don't see him anymore or ever again, even though that I have no reason to see him again.
Right. I think that as I think about Kaiki, in the same vein as why I feel like it's something that would take a lot of planning and really kind of breaking down everything that he's said, everything that he's given us to truly try to begin to feel like you actually understand him. I feel like the word evil is what sticks out to me, and I think that paired with seeing some sort of, like, Power Rangers on the TV
Super
in
Sentai.
the back.
It reminded me of Super Sentai in the background in the play.
It brings up this idea that we are hearing the terms of justice and evil and a villain from kid characters. And I say that is important because even Kaiki brings up his own age. And I think it's brought up a few times in this episode as, like, oh, creepy that this middle-aged man is doing these things with middle schoolers and involving himself in the lives of middle schoolers and preying on them. So we're really creating a distinction, especially if you think about last episode, the idea of, like, an adult that doesn't realize they're an adult, the idea of maturing and growing up. We're really being shown this distinction, or whether there's a lack of distinction in what that would mean between childhood, adolescence, and adulthood. And I feel like the term evil and villain really evokes for me this very, like, childlike idea of the world. Like, things aren't as complex. They're just very, like, it's more black and white in that idea. Like, he did something wrong, he's evil, or how could someone do something that would hurt other people? Well, his motivations is that this is his job. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he's not actually going out of his way he's not actually hurting someone. They're believing that he did it. You know, like, that they're creating their own misfortune. He's just there and profiting off of it. And as someone watching the show, then I'm like, I see the word evil, and that is what I hone in on while I'm watching this, and that's what I'm really like stuck on and trying to understand how I view his character, because I feel like that is a gross oversimplification of his character.
I love, but like the gross oversimplification of him being evil is what he wants the gross oversimplification to be.
Right.
Like, that's the fucking, like, asshole part of it
He's
that
like,
you have to love.
He's like, okay, yeah, hate me.
But, like,
I'll say sorry.
everything that you could think of to be like, oh, this is a great point to make about against him, he's gonna feel like shit. I'm gonna dismantle his argument.
Nothing's gonna hurt this man.
He has made you think that you are going to say something to hurt him because he wants you to say something that you think is going to hurt him so that he can validate himself in his own, like, fucking kinky shit that he's like, oh yeah, no, you're right, I am this way.
He's incredibly mentally shielded. This is not someone who is weak mentally. He describes himself as shallow and simple, but he is not weak mentally. And I think that you can really grab onto that as being the case when our fight with Karen, Aragi brings up to her, like, hey, physical strength is great and all, but that is not the only thing that you should be strong in. You need to be strong mentally and of will. And think about what Kaiki does. He literally, in terms of, okay, he brings up theater multiple times in this scene where he's talking to Senjigahara and Aragi. How much stage direction presence is it to exit walking through the two people that are confronting you?
Yeah.
There is a performance aspect of him parting them. There's a commanding of it. There's a safety he feels that they're not actually going to hurt him or attack him. He feels incredibly safe. And especially, like, he even brings up to us why he feels safe. Because he can tell that Senjigahara has changed and different and she has restraint here. And he's like, you're boring now. And he brings up the fact that she would have not shown restraint before and we get the stationary on the ground. Like, he does not feel like these are threats to him at all. And I think it's because he knows that they are, like, good intentioned.
It's like the second that we finished the episode, all I wanted to do is be like, oh, I love Senjigahara so much. I love the ways that she's self-aware and how she words everything to be very true, specific, but also like the epitome of self-growth. You have to be able to do that to get to this point, and that's great. But then every second that my mind wandered, it just went back to Kaiki. I have no, like, I'm still wondering, like, will we ever know the true motives behind his feelings or why he does what he does? Like, okay, here's a question. Will we ever find out if the person who assaulted Senjigahara is actually dead? If we do find out, was he actually killed in the car crash? Did it actually have nothing to do or no connection to Senjigahara?
Or does it matter at all? Like, does it really matter for her growth? Like, I think that that's honestly, that point in the conversation makes me feel incredibly uncomfortable, because it really calls upon the idea of, like, would you truly, like, feel better yourself if something happened to you and then you found out that, like, they're dead now? You know, some people might feel like that aids their healing, or the justice, you know, being served, or some sort of, like, fated justice.
Okay, all right. Okay, so in the way that it's phrased, in the way that the first dimension that is painted for us is that potentially Senjigahara can come away feeling like something was taken away from her, because in an untheatric way, the person who did something evil is being, the chance of having any redemption or revenge or atonement, or not atonement, sorry, like revenge and like being able to take control of that situation could be taken away from you now. However, if you're Kaiki and you are either one, we trust him at the lie that he did lie initially and did remember Senjugahara, went out of his way, because it would be going out of his way to know this knowledge, because it's not money-minded or business-minded. That would give me a positive light and feeling for Kaiki, because at the end of the day, I think even though you can get away with the false intention that you're trying to fuck with Senjugahara, I don't believe he actually was. What if that second lie wasn't true? What if he didn't remember Senjugahara until this interaction, then just latched onto it because it's a vague memory and he felt like it could sting? I think that's possible, but it doesn't feel like it has as much legs as him having investment elsewhere, but us never knowing if he does.
Okay, so what you're bringing up, I feel like as you were talking, I was like, yes, it almost feels like maybe that wasn't a lie, what happened to the man that attempted to rape Senjugahara. But then I think about it of the idea of misguided revenge. Like, that would really sting and hurt if Kaiki's like, you're here confronting me and wanting revenge on me or wanting me to say I'm sorry. But, did you go after the guy that maybe more directly harmed you? Like, yeah, I might have been a part of your parents' divorce and I might have preyed on the fact that something happened to you, but I didn't actually do something directly to you. And is that almost like, I feel like that could really hurt. I feel like that saying that, bringing up the idea of there is a person out there that we have not seen Senjugahara try to get revenge on and go after. When we see her as this character that is going to enact revenge for any wrongdoing that was done to her, to be able to move on to the next place in her life where she's able to leave this crab in the past. But she's not going there, and she hasn't gone there. The only time we've ever heard of this person was the literal initial storytelling of what happened to her. Never once has that person kind of been the focus of her feelings and revenge wanting later on. And I feel like this could be really seen as a dig. Are you too scared mentally to confront the person that actually did something to you?
But it also could be we've already identified the change and we're trying to shroud this as a jab of oh, you've changed, you were better back then. But if there's that acknowledgement deep down that Senjugahara has changed, but we know it's for a better, but we're trying to egg her on, would the ultimate test to see if she's actually changed be phrasing something like this to gauge what reaction she would give? I mean, what harsher reality breaking announcement could you give? And the word choice, it's about the man who almost raped you way back then. He was hit by a car and died. I feel like saying he was hit by a car and died is specific language to disassociate personal feelings and detached. This is meant to detach as possible as they can in a place with no connection to you. In an event with no connection to you, without any drama. It's all eyes are waiting on the response. I don't know.
It's not even worth bidding farewell to. Okay, so I don't know. This whole section of the scene, it's so interesting. Really, I still feel like I'm not truly getting to the heart of how I feel about it. But I feel like you could also, you could segue that to the idea of how it feels to be the victim of a crime and or wanting justice for the victim of a crime, and what would happen. Say, okay, I'm gonna bring up actual real world. Okay, this person goes to jail and they get the death penalty, but then they die of natural causes in jail before the death penalty actually takes effect. That sometimes the victim's family would feel like they were cheated out of maybe a little bit of the control over the situation. That they might feel like justice wasn't truly served. There was an easy easier way out for that person that they didn't deserve. This would probably be that same case, that he just randomly died in this random incident and you didn't get revenge on him. He didn't have to atone for what he did or say he's sorry or go to jail or change his life around. Okay. And I think that takes me to the very end of the episode, just an idea of how victims would feel. We get the idea from the sisters that victims won't necessarily feel better and their problems be fixed knowing that there will be no more victims. Like, yeah, it'll feel good. Like, you can't erase trauma. So it's like, oh yeah, that person went to jail for the thing they did to you. There's never going to be another person that is wronged by this specific person ever again. Yay! But you still have to live with what was done to you. And so the sisters are now taking that. They're like, I am going to go help those people who need help here.
Yeah. I mean, like, you have to think about the chain of events too, because even if somebody is gone from the town, right, that doesn't stop all the dominoes that he's already set up. Like, Nadeko ended up being affected in a non-direct way from Kaiki originally being here, I'd assume, right? Just because another person tried to, I think, take Kaiki's loose knowledge and apply it in a way that fell down to Nadeko trying to fix something that she had no idea how to truthfully fix.
Well, yeah, what Kaiki's telling us in terms of his own talents and whether we can believe it or not is incredibly dangerous. This idea of an imposter, that he, as he paints it for us, he doesn't have the power to see these things, but he knows that other people believe in them. That means that any other person out there... Real. That means that any other person out there could, in fact, intentionally or unintentionally be a Kaiki in this town. It doesn't matter if he leaves. Like you said, there's dominoes. There's people that could still be affected. There's always going to be people that want to curse other people because they think it's a fun game or they actually have malice. And there's always going to be people that want money and are going to prey upon people that are vulnerable and in need. Like, just because one bad seed or someone you view as a bad seed is going to leave town doesn't mean that the town is safe.
Do you feel like Kaiki actually didn't give a shit about Kambaru, or like didn't, like, I'm trying to revisit the outside of her house in my head.
And he calls it the legacy.
Yeah, and like how he talks about like, oh, he has nothing to be like to have checked in on, right? Like,
because it's boring. These things are boring to him when they're not majorly in trouble.
I can't say. Like, yes, that is what he's telling me. That is probably true, but that is just what he wants me to think as well. Like, I think that everything is shrouded in this way that, like what I said in the beginning of the discussion, it's objectively almost impossible at this point to be able to make an objective opinion because it solely depends on where his actual motives lie.
You know what they're playing with? Tsundere. That's what they're playing with. The last 2 episodes, we keep calling people tsunderes. And we know, as the viewer, we have a very strong idea of when our characters are lying to Araragi, when what they're saying isn't necessarily what they mean or feel, like Shinobu, you know, in the give me an order conversation, Senjigahara in this episode. We can tell that they're just not wanting to directly say something and they're going to say the opposite. With him,
I think he's specifically saying he isn't a tsundere by saying they're like oil and water, but then him saying that no, that's not even right. We're like water and rubidium. Like it's the perfect like weakness or like villain that you could concoct to be put up against a tsundere.
I know. Yeah. That's what I'm complimenting that.
It's so good.
I definitely think one of the coolest things that happened, and I had said during the episode that it distracting me, but that wasn't necessarily the right word, because I wasn't like distracted where I wasn't paying attention to the scene, but it was more like...
You're trying to look at both?
I was trying to look at both, and some of the things that were happening were like jarring. It's because it breaks that like fourth wall. Like we're watching this screen in the back and they're throwing a chair and this is it.
Yeah.
Okay. They're throwing a chair and it comes and hits us. Like that's what, I don't mean distracting, but I can't think of a better word for it. Because I wasn't like distracted from paying attention in the episodes. Just whoa. So that was really cool. So I wanted to compliment that. And I feel like the pacing of it kind of fit where we were in the conversation and kind of who maybe felt like they were stronger. We get this moment of like the villain almost unmasking in a way during Kaiki lines. And so there were some really cool things that were happening there.
Yeah. It feels like Monogatari is like you're watching. It's something that's never been done before. It's like you're trying to. Like, some people will watch TV while playing video games, and then while playing video games and watching TV, they'll also be, like, scrolling on their phone or doing whatever, and they'll add up and do, like, 4 or 5 different things at the same time.
I know
and
what that's
they're
like.
all different things, though, but in Monogatari, it's, like, doing all 5 of those things, but all of them are canonically related to each other.
It's
harmonious. It's wild.
Even if there's a discordant note, it's all a one piece. They're not separate intentions and separate thoughts.
There was I had wrote down quickly, like, it's like picking and choosing when to be self-aware parody. Like, when this was happening between Araragi and Karen and their like fight and their conversation and like the dust and everything, it's like they know exactly who their audience is. Like,
when they bring up incest.
No.
Oh, okay.
but that's all I have, you.
Yeah, I did have one more thing, but
go on.
It's cool. I wanted to talk about Tsukihi.
Okay.
Since now we know that Tsukihi Phoenix is the next thing that we're getting into.
Mm-hmm.
And why I wanted to talk about it, even though you had such a great exit to this video, and I'm so sorry that I ruined it.
It's fine.
Is what would be the emotional reason? All of our characters that are encountering oddities have some sort of an emotional reason why they are encountering this oddity and why it is hard for them to dispel it themselves, or why they would need help. It's hard to imagine that Tsukihi would go through something like this right after seeing what happened with Karen. And maybe it's because she's not truly opened up behind the curtain to the world, behind the curtain by Araragi, and that's why she's still able to fall victim to something. Maybe she also takes on something because, as Karen and her say at the very end, like, they're still gonna be justice itself, and Araragi says he's proud of them for this. But I'm very interested going into it because I feel like it's going to be harder to sell because of the fact that Tsukihi is so close to Karen.
That's fair. I think them being a duo and them having given what their motivation is after this episode and going into the next, I can see how she would be potentially afflicted by something just by, you know, relation to trying to fix other people's problems, but we'll see. I definitely could see Tsukiki definitely hurting herself to try to help somebody else.
We do know she's a little more of a temper than Karen.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and hope to see you next time.